You know what? Let's go right to the headline topic, private internet access. So I had a chance to sit down with, well, virtually sit down with, air travel is costly and takes a lot of time and stuff. So we used Discord. Yeah. Unfortunately, the audio was sort of terrible. You guys
used Discord?
Well, because they are in Europe, so we were like on the Europe server, but I am super definitely not in Europe, and it was pretty crackly.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Anyway, point is, I actually recorded the entire call with their permission, of course. Like I wasn't surreptitiously recording it or anything like that.
This was the plan.
But I recorded the entire call, and we're going to share that in an unlisted YouTube video if you guys want to go ahead and check that out. And basically, what we did was we polled our community a little bit earlier, it was either this week or last week, and we asked you guys to give us a list of the questions that you wanted us to ask PIA. So I sat down, I talked to them myself. Some of the concerns that people shared were in this document that I cannot open because I opened the wrong one. Here we go. People wanted to know what kind of differences end users are going to see, how they can ensure their data is protected, whether PIA will remain private internet access, what guarantee people have that their information won't slip out in any shape or form, whether they'll continue to operate in such a way that they can maintain true confidentiality with no records. How does the merger help PIA? Like, why even do this, One of the things I really drilled into was, okay, I understand how this helps PIA because, you have a bunch of money now because you've got this parent company with large coffers. But, what's in it for Cape Technologies? Because it was said in the news articles about the acquisition that PIA owed a lot of money, that they had a lot of debt. And so I was looking at it going, okay, well, why does PIA have debt unless they're not profitable? And if they're not profitable, well, usually the model there for acquiring a non-profitable business is, what are you acquiring? Users. Why do you want users? User data. So I asked, okay, like, how does that make sense? And they explained that basically the debt that PIA was carrying was actually more to do with product development of, exciting upcoming products, and not to do with that they were not operating profitably day by day. And I kind of went, okay, well, that makes a lot more sense, acquiring a profitable business. So what else did we talk about? Will they be keeping IP records? The answer is no. What kind of auditing do they do of their systems to avoid what happened? Oh, actually didn't ask that specifically because we ended up talking about the auditing that they are open to. So regulatory bodies are welcome to visit their offices. They can poke around in their source code. They've actually started open sourcing some of their products, which I thought was pretty cool. They say they're not planning any changes to the current end user license agreement. That was another big question. They couldn't really comment on pricing. I understand that. They were like, yeah, I don't know, up, down, like pricing's sort of a thing.
Yeah.
One of the most common questions, even though this happened a long time ago, like something like a year and a half ago, was why did Mark Capellas become their new CTO? And we've actually got a clip. We've actually got a couple of clips here. So we've got about 11 minutes of highlights. I'm not going to take you guys through. Oh, whoops, you're not screen sharing with me. So we've got about 11 minutes of highlights here. I'm not going to take you guys through the whole thing, but I think it's worth including a little bit of it. But the gist of that one was that London Trust Media hired Mark Capellas, and he wasn't actually influential on PIA, which was like owned by London Trust Media, but then now PIA was actually acquired by Cape Technologies. So if anything, this question is more irrelevant now than ever, but they still were willing to answer it, which I thought was great. They were actually surprisingly approachable and transparent throughout the whole process. And they basically said, well, we believe in second chances. It's pretty evident that mistakes were made, but he never had any access to any user data and was working for London Trust Media. We know he's very capable. So we hired him based on that, and one of PIA's founders had an existing relationship with him and kind of said, like, I know he's a good guy and, like, bad stuff happens, but we think people deserve a second chance. And he had nothing to do with any of PIA's privacy applications. So we had a pretty long conversation about that as well. Yeah. So basically, the long and short of it is that they're saying Cape Technologies had made mistakes in the past. I mean, that was the other big concern that I think our users had, was that Cape Technologies in its earlier days was, whether directly or basically was in the business of selling user data, ended up having it blow up in their faces. The CEO, this is what they're telling me, the CEO basically burned it all to the ground, got rid of everybody, brought in an entirely new team, and decided, okay, no, new focus. We are going to work on the concept of monetizing privacy instead of monetizing data. And they pointed at their acquisitions of other VPN companies who notably haven't had any scandals. CyberGhost is a perfect example in the last few years since Cape Technologies acquired them, as their commitment to keep moving in that direction. Really interesting quip was I forget who it was. Sorry, there were a handful of people on the call. But one of them pointed out that Mark Zuckerberg got up on stage and talked about, privacy as like a really exciting business opportunity, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm kind of sitting here going, okay. And they were like, no, wrong messenger.
Yeah.
But like, great message. I was like, okay.
Sure.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Awkward. Yeah, lie to your users a ton and then advertise privacy.
Yeah.
Well,
it's the whole, I want to say conspiracy theory, but it seems pretty believable, right? Where the same actors are creating, weapons and shields.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, definitely. Are we going to watch it? Or are you just going to do the summary thing?
You know what? I kind of summarized a lot of it. Why don't we watch a couple chunks of it, though?
Sure.
Yeah. Don't log. Do you log? Just for our viewers, I want a summary. Do you log IP addresses? Do you log, any like metadata? I mean, obviously you have to take payment from people somehow. How does this work? What do you not log?
So we do not log in any of our services any IP translations. So we do not log.
Sorry that the video is frozen on their side. The connection wasn't great.
Technically, is the user account, because you need a user account to use a commercial VPN. But that only shows that you use a VPN and not what you do with the VPN. And that is also shown. We are very transparent with it. I remember that CyberGhost was the first company in the history of VPNs that opened and published a transparency report regarding police requests. And we get several police requests here. Also, Private Internet Access is releasing a transparency report. So you see in the way we deal with police requests and subpoenas that there is no data there is no data logged, there's no data stored. And maybe Andrew can tell a little bit more about how it's handled there.
Absolutely, yeah. We don't log anything as it relates to VPN traffic or anything. Obviously when somebody signs up, we know if somebody signs up, but we're really committed to our no log policy. But it's great that you asked this question, because we're actually taking it a step further and we're opening our systems up to review from both auditors in the community as well as professional auditors as well, so that they can verify what we're saying, not just take our word for it.
This is going to be a question that you guys. So basically, that's the summary of the no log policy. Basically, they are committed to continuing to not log anything. So okay. I think my other timestamps are in the doc here. The big middle chunk, the only reason I'm not playing it is because it ended up being really long and it was faster to summarize it. I did post the full thing in the chat, and then I'm just checking to see. I believe it's also posted in the video description. Yep, it's posted in the video description if you guys want to check that out. I'm just checking my other timestamp.
One completely off-topic question that I have. Are those guys in a tent?
I don't know what they're doing.
Are they camping?
I'm not sure. I'm sorry. They were super backlit. It was hard to see their faces.
Yeah, I mean, that answer was, as far as I know, the same answer you get if you look up their like FAQ stuff.
Yep.
So,
good know. Okay. This was edited down for long pauses, apparently. Good effort, guys.
You know, one thing I wanted to share is that we recently.
Oh, I asked if there was anything else they
open-sourced
wanted to
all of
share.
our software, and you know, we also.
Okay, yeah, let's try that one more time.
You know, one thing I wanted to share is that we recently open sourced all of our software, and you know, we also announced a new program called Zero Access that, you know, I kind of briefly touched on it before, but we're basically, you know, opening up our systems to prove that we actually won't have access to the systems, but at the same time, they're running exactly what, you know, we're saying that it's running, and it's all going to be provable.
Okay.
Yeah, the big push on our end is for complete transparency and visibility to our community.
Someone had an iPhone sitting next to their mic. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, oh, go ahead.
I have a small point on that one. A lot
This
of
guy.
questions are also in this direction. You know, how can we guys trust you? You know, and my answer is always, don't trust us. I mean, just don't. Just look at what we are doing. We are publicly listed. We are the most transparent company out there. Everybody knows our headquarters. Go on our websites. You're gonna see pictures of people working for these companies. So we are launching a transparency report. Our policy at CyberGhost is since 3 years, and it's the same policy at Private Internet Access or at ZenMate. Any NGO that is in this field and has experts is invited. Knock at our doors in Bucharest or at the headquarters at PIA or at ZenMate, and you can have a watch. You can watch our servers. You can see our servers. You can look at our source code. You can see what's behind the scenes. You can talk with the people. We are super transparent. Don't trust us. Just look at how we operate the business. And to add additional trust now, we start to closely and slowly open source stuff. And I think that is important. I think that is the difference between us as a group and our products and any other VPN out there.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. So, in summary, what we've decided to do to make things simple. So I don't know if you guys have noticed, but we worked with PIA for a long time, ever since we weren't comfortable with TunnelBear's acquisition by McAfee, up until the news of PIA then getting acquired. Now, we haven't stopped working with PIA, strictly speaking, but ever since that day, we haven't done any promotion for PIA. We haven't put out our affiliate link. Actually, we had it in one spot. It was like in a template somewhere, but we removed it once someone brought that to our attention. Because it wasn't that we were sure that Cape Technologies was going to be a negative influence on them. We just didn't know, and we didn't want to put ourselves in a position where, you know, PIA had got acquired, and then now we're hopping over to some other VPN, and then what? Like, are they going to get acquired? And then they have some big scandal, and then we hop over to some other VPN, and we were just kind of. I was tired of that cycle. I don't want to deal with that. And from my perspective, if we couldn't just find someone that we can trust to recommend to our users, then I was just going to bail on it. So what we told PIA is, look, we're going to give you guys a chance to speak your mind. We're going to let the community decide. I mean, everyone's had actually like weeks now, actually months, to process all of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop this poll in the forum here, or in the forum, excuse me. I'm going to drop this poll in the chat here, and we're just going to let you guys decide. So in order to prevent any exploiters from taking advantage of that, this is a poll that's based on the YouTube community link. We are going to cut off the voting in the next 5 minutes. I'm not going to give people time to spin up their botnet or whatever the case may be. So, guys, go ahead, check that out. Do you want to drop that in the float plane chat as well? Oh, this guy's on it. He's on it. He's taking care of our float planers.
I also re-upped on the other two just to make sure they got updated links.
All right, so guys, go check that out. And that's it. You guys are judge, jury, and executioner. So if you guys say, yeah, stick with PIA, then that's it. We're sticking with it. If you guys say, no, hard bail, then it's hard bail as far as I'm concerned. So we'll do one more topic while we wait for you guys to go through that, and then we'll come back and have a look at the results. Having actually sat through the entire interview that I did with them this morning, I felt pretty good about the direction they were going. I mean, I'm still committed to letting the community decide. Unfortunately, I don't have a good way to allow them to decide at
What
this
if you
point
remove indifferent?
without leaving it open to, well, the people.
You have to redo it, and some people are legitimately indifferent.
Yeah, no, I don't want to take away that vote. If people just don't care, like, that's good
Right,
to know.
but the difference between the 22 and the 23 will be more noticeable if that column of dump votes isn't there.
I see. Okay.
I mean, it might end up being like, oh, it's a 2% difference now. Like, it might not be meaningful.
I was expecting like a landslide in either direction.
I was too, to be honest.
I was expecting there to be strong opinions. I didn't know which way it would swing. This was the last possible thing that I could have expected.
Yep, me too.
Okay, we're gonna have to give it some more thought. This was like my master plan. This was my.
I thought it was gonna work. I was like excited for like how conclusive this was going to be.
Yeah.
Just-
I was excited to not have to make a decision. Honestly. I
the
was
committee
like,
was just like, no. Yeah.
This is on you to
Yeah.
make the decision.
so,
You have to decide.
got people saying NordVPN, yeah, they've had their own issues. Like right around the same time, they had a really stupid
Wasn't it right
scandal.
before, I think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I guess we'll just have to figure it out on our own. There's a poll for just what, sorry?
Someone in the Floatplane chat came with the idea that the Floatplane viewers, probably an increased amount of VPN users, probably a little bit more hardcores and stuff, maybe we should see what
Should we just
their
let
poll
Floatplane
looks like.
decide? Okay, you know what? Screw it. I'm just gonna let Floatplane decide. Okay, do you have it up on your screen?
I
Okay,
do.
I want it revealed to me at the same time as you. Let's do
They're
it.
still voting, but this one's a lot more clear.
Okay. Hey,
This one's like-
69, nice.
This one is significantly
Nice.
more clear.
The answer is done. Floatplane said, YouTube says maybe, Floatplane says yes. So Floatplane people, because we know you're real people, I am
Done. Conclusive.
60% of the time it works every time. We're going
Handled.
with the Floatplane conclusion.